Yo, what's up, everybody? How's it going? This is Marcos Villegas, the founder of Fight Up TV, and I welcome you all to the weekly Fight Up TV live chat that can be found here on our YouTube channel, Fight Up TV, at 5:35 every Monday. Today is May 24th, the year of our Lord 2021, being joined by our correspondents, Mr. Marcus Hayes and Mr. J-Mart, Yair Martinez.
What's going on, y'all? Happy to be back. Happy to be back.
All right, guys. Wow. Over the weekend, had a great fight. Undisputed champion crowned at 140 pounds. Josh Taylor beating Jose Ramirez. I will admit I was surprised. Not because of how the fight played out, but because of the manner of how Josh Taylor won the fight. I thought it was fairly dominant on his end. You know, I think it's a dominant fight when you knock the guy down twice. And I wasn't expecting him to knock down Jose Ramirez twice in the fight. He did. One of the knockdowns, you could say maybe, you know, a ref error. But the counter to that is, you know, you got to protect yourself at all times. But it did seem like, you know, he was a little confused by the ref. Something similar to that has happened to me before in a wrestling match where I thought I heard the ref whistle and I stopped and the guy took me down and pinned me, and I looked at the ref like, yo, what the hell? You know, and he's like, don't stop until I tell you to stop, you know, and I'm like, oh man, you know, so I lost the match with that. But you know, I was there in Vegas. It was good to have another crowd over there. Gentlemen, impressions. First off with Marcus. Were you surprised at all in the manner of how Josh Taylor beat Jose Ramirez?
You know what, Marcos, I was not. And the reason I say that is because I think that Josh Taylor is he's kind of cut from a different cloth. I think he's been showing that for a while now with the quality of people. He really showed himself to be the real deal, the way he beat Regis Prograde. I know that was a close fight, but I expected, you know
what? Honestly, bro, I felt that Regis in some, well, not in some, I think overall, I don't know if you guys agree with this or not. A lot of people saying Regis did better than Jose.
Absolutely.
Granite chin too.
Absolutely. I think Regis would beat Ramirez as well. To be honest, I think that the way that, you know, one thing, Josh Taylor's in great shape. He does, you know, give the other guy a chance to make a play on him as far as he does absorb some punches. But I just thought overall, man, he looked good. He showed himself to be the class of 140. Congrats and hats off to him.
Yair, what was your impressions overall of strategy-wise of how the fight ended up playing out for you?
I was really surprised. I'm going to be honest, just like you, more what you said, Marcos, because I didn't expect Jose Ramirez to actually touch the canvas twice. I know the second one is it's a little controversial right now, but I didn't expect him to go down like that. And, you know, what people have told us and people been in his camp, he's a hard guy to knock down. And, I mean, Robert Garcia said it as well. He might not be the best fighter, might be the cleanest, but he has heart, and he still stayed in there. But the way he was just moving, Josh Taylor, the way he was just finding him those open gaps was just outstanding. I was very surprised, man. I was very surprised for the performance of Josh Taylor. Hats off to him. Looking at the stats, what they were saying that combined record of Josh Taylor's last 6 opponents, it's 136 wins and 1 losses.
That's crazy. Freaking insane. That tells you the caliber of guys.
Crazy. Absolutely.
Brent says fight of the year. No. It was a great fight, but not fight of the year. No. Thank you for Constantino for giving us a shout out real quick. Congrats to my boy Marcos, almost having 1 million subscribers. Thank you, Tino. You know, you're a big reason why we got to that too during the time that you worked for us, bro. So you know, all of us couldn't have gotten to the close to where we're hitting without the help that you gave us and me over the years, bro. So thank you for that. You're almost at 100K, dog. So congrats on that, man. Continue. Go ahead and I got to address this guy right here. You're being a little troll, bro. Stop trying to push certain narrative, Mr. Marcos. I'm not pushing a certain narrative. I'm asking a question, dog, and we'll get into that, but I'm tired of this. Oh, man, it's so annoying. All right, continue, Yair.
Well, like Marcus is saying, Josh Taylor's cut from a different cloth. I honestly did not believe that until the end of this fight. So 136-1, beating Jose Ramirez, who was 26-0 at the moment, now 26-1. I can't say the other guys. Regis Prograis. Then
he was undefeated. Regis Prograis.
Yeah, at that moment was 24-0. Ray,
and I think Regis was the favorite too in that fight.
Yeah, he was the favorite.
I don't think Josh was. See, and that tells you a lot. Every fighter goes and has that moment where they go into a fight and they're not expected to win, and then they win. I think from what I've seen, when a fighter does that, they really show that they're a cut above everybody else. They're showing like a peak of their greatness when they go ahead and do that.
Yeah, and so just looking at all the fighters he had faced, they were basically undefeated world champions. And I mean, even going back to the Regis Prograis fight, if you saw his face, Josh Taylor's be like, man, he definitely lost. No, but he stood out there. So extremely well-deserved for Josh Taylor. A little bit bummed out for Jose Ramirez because obviously he's a great guy, great fighter. A lot of great stories you hear about him. And but man, I mean, it's the sky's the limit for Josh Taylor. Even Terrence Crawford, looking at that, Teofimo, if he could move around. So excited for that, man. I'm very excited. It was a great fight. I was like, when Jose Ramirez touched the canvas first, I was like, oh no. But hey, how was the crowd reacting, Marcos?
It was a pro Ramirez crowd, that's for sure. And Team Batman, we'll get to this topic. I actually completely forgot. For you guys tuning in, if you haven't already, like and subscribe, share the stream. We're touching on this Jose Ramirez Josh Taylor fight. We're going to touch on the news. Manny Pacquiao facing Errol Spence, and what a win does for Manny Pacquiao if it puts him over Floyd, if anything. And then also previewing Devin Haney versus Jorge Linares. And we'll touch on Canelo being on this boxing game as well. Yes, in terms of crowd, it was a pro Ramirez crowd. Travel is a little bit restricted for people coming over to Scotland. It was only Josh Taylor's close friends there that were part of his support section. And San Jose, where he's from, Fresno, where Jose Ramirez is from, is not too far away from Vegas. I'm not sure the exact time, but yeah, there was a lot of Ramirez fans in the crowd. He brought out the Cowboys. He saw a bunch of freaking rancheros there with the cowboy hats there, which is, I crack up when I see those fools because where I live, I don't get to see a lot of those guys. Maybe where you live, Yair, you get to see them, and maybe Marcus, you get to see them because you're out in the desert in Indio. But I don't get to see them over here in Fullerton, bro. There's none of those guys there. But it was they were excited. Obviously, when the knockdown happened, they got quiet, and then when he started coming back to the body, they started getting into it as well. And then overall, I think after I saw them going ahead and embracing Jose. He had a big family contingent there at the fight as well.
Oh, Marco.
It was cool.
Marcos, I want to touch something real quick. Now you said family. I want to touch on something real quick. Somebody asked him at the end of the fight, and I was watching it when you were on live. Somebody said, "Who's your next opponent? Who would you like to fight?"
Oh yeah, he got pissed, right?
But
he got mad.
But you know what? I love his response. And he looked back at his team and he said, "Out of respect out of my family, we're not going to talk about that right now." Like, you don't hear a lot of fighters saying that about their team. He said, "Out of the respect out of my family, we're not going to discuss that right now." And he just changed the subject real quick. I was like, wow, like he was really like, I mean, the way he talks and communicates about his team with Robert Garcia and them, that showed a lot of companionship, a lot of, they were really intact. That really got to me. I was like, wow, that really stood out. I don't know if you've noticed that, Marcos, when he said that.
No, well, obviously I was there. I was filming it. That's the thing, man. They just got done with the training camp. They just got done, fighting. Honestly, that's like the last thing they want to go ahead and talk about. And like, I know they always say like, I'm focused on this fight, but I'd like to think they do have an idea of what they want to do after, but going through all that, I'm sure they just want to go ahead and just relax and just spend time with family, especially Jose. Jose spent a lot of time away from his family. I think he just had a newborn a few months ago.
February.
A few months ago. And he hasn't had a lot of time to go and see her. He had a little baby girl and everything. So Yeah, that's that. Oh God, this guy. Okay, keep spamming. Here we go. Here we go. Some of you guys push some. I don't know. Okay, but I'm gonna share my opinion, and I think this is the most fairest opinion on this subject, regardless of who it is. If either or guy switch places, Chris. And normally I reserve this for super chat, Chris, but you've been spamming the damn comment section so much, and you got me freaking irritated because I see a lot of people posting this, which I think it's unfair to Teofimo. You're diminishing what he accomplished, and what he accomplished is a very rare freaking thing. Same thing with Josh Taylor. Undisputed is not an easy thing to do. It's an extremely rare thing that only the elite of the elite are able to do. I told you, Marcos, Teofimo Lopez is not undisputed at lightweight. The franchise champion is not a belt. Josh Taylor even said Teofimo was not undisputed, or else he would have fought him. First off, wrong weight class. Okay. Second, I don't know when he said that.
Mm-hmm. I didn't hear him say that.
Yeah, I didn't hear him say that.
He said it a couple weeks ago.
But let's obviously, if you're a Devin Haney fan, you're going to say he's not. If you're a Teofimo fan, you're going to say he is. From what I've noticed, it's really a point of, if you're a fan of each other side, you're going to go ahead and back them up. Okay, I get it. But let's speak facts, okay? Facts, all right? If Devin Haney was in the position of Teofimo Lopez, he would be saying the same thing. I'm undisputed champion. I beat Vasily Lomachenko. Vasily Lomachenko was rated number 1 at 135 pounds. I beat that guy. I'm the king. I beat the best guy out there that had all the belts. Give me my respect. If he was in that position, he would be saying the same thing. Now, yes, I get it. Vacated the belt. WBC created this whole freaking mess with this franchise thing, which we all hate. We all disagree with.
That's
the dumbest thing in the world. But here's the thing. He didn't beat Vasily Lomachenko, who was number 1. You know who did do that? Teofimo Lopez. And regardless of what belt it was, we all saw Teofimo Lopez as the champion at 135 pounds. Vasily Lomachenko as the champion at 135 pounds, unified champion, number 1 at 135 pounds. Teofimo beat that guy regardless of which WBC belt he had. He beat that guy. Teofimo Lopez is the guy. Number 1, undisputed, regardless of franchise belt, super belt, diamond belt. It could have been any other belt. Give the guy his respect. And if it would have been Devin that would have beaten Lomachenko, I'd be saying the same damn thing because I like Devin. Okay? Same damn thing. But I think all this stuff that people are putting out is diminishing how great of an accomplishment Teo did and what he did. Okay? Devin, yes, I understand. The situation that he was put in, he couldn't challenge Lomachenko for the belt. Okay? Yes, I get it. When he went and he got that belt, he didn't get it by beating Vasily Lomachenko. He got it from beating the Russian guy. All right? Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, end of the freaking day, Teofimo Lopez beat the guy. Regardless of belt or not, he beat the number 1 guy that had all the belts. If this whole franchise thing didn't happen, what would have happened is they would have created an interim belt for Devin to fight for. Lomachenko, the winner of Lomachenko and Teofimo Lopez would have to have gone into a fight with Devin to sort out the whole interim. Teofimo would have been seen as undisputed. That's what would have happened, likely happened. All right. So I'm seeing all this stuff. I think you guys are all doing a disservice if you're on the other side to the accomplishment.
There's a way out of it.
Yes, I understand. They go and they got to fight. Yes, we all get that. Out. And we all want to see that. Would love to see that. Yep. But
now let me pose a question to you, Marco.
Some fans got to put respect on Teo's name, man. Regardless of what you think of the guy, he beat the guy that beat the guy that beat the guy.
And but the thing is, the problem is that we're people are getting angry and getting on the fighters, but the situation is that, look, this is what happens when you give more than one girl your Letterman jacket, homeboy. Yeah, when somebody was wearing your jacket at first lunch, and then another
wait. Hold on, Marcus. Hold on. Continue this, but this just popped in my head. That's saying Josh Taylor isn't undisputed. Want to know why? Because Tank's going to fight for the WBA super title at 140 pounds. So you can't say Josh Taylor's undisputed because he hasn't fought Tank for the WBA super title at 140. You hear how stupid that is?
It's just bringing up excuses. Legit, just excuses trying to diminish, like you're saying, diminish what he's worked so hard for, what he's earned. I don't understand it.
It's not something.
I hope
what
all
is there
you
a
guys
super title for? What's there a super title?
Yeah, because
why is there a super title? What is there a
crazy.
super title? What's the
because
reason?
Because they want more sanctioning fees. That's why.
That's exactly the reasoning behind it. That's the only reason behind it.
Look what's going to happen.
Super champion. It's the guy who has the belt.
I would laugh like crazy if we start seeing that argument now. Now that Josh is undisputed, we start seeing people, well, he didn't fight Tank. You can't be undisputed. Okay, watch. Because that's the same damn argument that you guys are bringing up for this situation. All right. Marcus, whatever you were saying before, please go ahead. I'm sorry, but that thing just the Letterman jacket example.
The problem with Teofimo and Haney is that both of them are wearing
GDDD. Your comment is dumb, bro. Come on, you're ridiculous. Get out of here with that. Go ahead. Go ahead, Marcus. Go ahead.
Haney and Teofimo Lopez are both wearing the belt from Mauricio Sulaiman. Mauricio Sulaiman, every good fighter, every fighter that wins a belt that's on a nationally televised show, these guys all have some sort of WBC belt on. There's too many champions in the WBC. That's one of the problems. That is the major problem at 35. The only thing to do is to make them fight it out. Otherwise, unfortunately, regardless of what everybody says, it's disputed. Until they fight, it's disputed, period. It's not about Teofimo. It's not Teofimo. I know you watch. It's not about you. I'll tell you why it's not
disputed, Marcus. I'll tell you why it's not disputed.
There's too many belts.
There is.
If Haney's
but I'll tell you why it's not. I'll tell you why it's not disputed. I'll tell you why it's not disputed, bro. I'll tell you why. Because he didn't beat the number one guy. The number one guy
doesn't matter.
Yes, it does. That's the whole point of this. Is beating the number one guy.
Then strip Haney. Then strip him. Then strip him.
He can't call himself the best at 135 if he didn't beat the best at 135 for the belt. Teofimo did that.
Neither one of them can call themselves the best at 35.
Oh my God!
One of them beat. No,
Marcus, stop,
neither one of them can call themselves the best at 35.
No,
listen to me.
Stop.
Okay, I get what you're saying.
Teofimo,
I wasn't gonna do it.
Number one at 135 because he beat the number one guy at 135. That's how it is. You beat.
I know you love Lomachenko. I know you guys love Lomachenko.
What? No,
Devin would dog walk Lomachenko.
Doesn't matter. He wasn't ranked number one, bro. He wasn't ranked number one.
Opportunity to fight Lomachenko. That's what the problem was. Devin just didn't get the opportunity to fight him.
And he wasn't number one. He wasn't the one with all the belts, bro.
Does that make Devin less? Does that make Devin less of a fighter at 35 than it does Teofimo, because he just didn't get a chance to fight Loma?
Doesn't matter if you got a chance or not. Rankings are rankings. Teofimo Lopez beat the number one guy. He's the number one guy because he.
Why does Haney have a belt in? I understand what you're saying, doggy.
Yeah,
he has a belt.
See, that's
you can't go around Haney. Period. Nobody at 35 can go around Haney until you beat him. He's a roadblock.
This is where your argument.
And it wouldn't be fair not to fight him. Period.
No. Trust me. We want to see that fight. But what you're saying is Teo can't be number one because he didn't beat Devin. And I'm like, that's not how sports work.
Man, look.
Teofimo beat the number one guy. He's number one now. No one else is number one.
That's great.
Because they didn't beat the number one guy.
He's number one, but there's a dispute in his division because there's another guy that has the same exact belt that he does, unfortunately. That's what a dispute is.
That's a dispute. People are putting that in there as a dispute, but it shouldn't be a dispute because he beat the guy that beat the guy. That's why.
It makes sense.
With this win, if he gets it over Jorge, now he puts himself in a position where rankings wise, he can go in and then they could settle it. But if you look at the numbers, he's number one. He beat the number one guy. That's like you win the Super Bowl and you go, no, but this team over here, like
that never happens. That never happens in football.
It never happens. It shouldn't happen in boxing.
In football.
If the number 2 beats the number 1, you're number 1.
Period.
There you go. Beto, HDZ. Teofimo will not get a crack at Taylor. Bob is going to put him on timeout for the Triller fiasco or set up the Loma rematch. Who knows, man? Who knows? I could see. Why wouldn't you want to have a Taylor Teofimo fight? That's a big fight. You make a lot of money, dude. And this is only a one-off. Like, Teo's still under contract with Top Rank. Like, I think everybody's forgotten about that. He still has, 3 more years or something like that with Top Rank on that contract. So it's an in-house Top Rank thing, unless Triller comes and buys out his contract.
I wonder what would happen if that fight does actually get in place and it's Josh Taylor versus Teofimo for those belts. What would actually be the narrative if Teofimo actually beats Josh Taylor if that moment comes?
He didn't beat Tank, so he's not number 1. Watch.
Yeah, like you see,
because Tank has the WBA belt. That's the same argument. It's the same argument.
So are you trying to say that Mario Barrios is holding a dispute with Josh Taylor right now? Do you think that that's real?
I don't think so. But if you're using
do you know why?
Logic,
don't think that? But do you know why you don't think that? Why? Because you don't think that he can go over there and beat Josh Taylor. That's why you don't think that.
No.
That's why you don't think that. That's why
I think he can beat Josh Taylor, but
there's nobody crying for Josh Taylor versus Mario Barrios.
Bro,
wouldn't have been.
Just because you think someone can beat someone doesn't give him the ranking of number 1.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, what gives them the ranking of number 1 is they beat the number 1 guy. And that's what it is. Neither is number 1 until they fight. Same belt. Wrong. Teofimo's number 1 because he beat the number 1 guy. He's ranked number 1 in Ring Magazine, number 1. WBC, number 1. All the organizations, number 1. The franchise belt, supposedly, according to WBC's messy freaking thing, has more weight than the regular WBC belt. Regular WBC belt franchise. Supposedly, it carries more weight. So what does that tell you?
But it's not a belt.
Is it? Is it not? Who freaking knows?
It doesn't need to be a. That's what I'm saying. Stop giving out belts. Start giving out cool watches. Look. Kenny Porter has.
They should give him a little trophy.
Yeah, he's got Kenny Porter has a big old huge nice WBC medallion. Do something like that. Stop giving everybody a real belt. Goodness. It's too much.
They give the YouTubers. They were giving the YouTubers real belts too, and then they stopped.
Man, get help. Get help, brother Mauricio. Get help.
I like Mauricio, but
I like Mauricio too.
Some of these decisions are ridiculous. All right, so we got that out of the system. Thanks, GD, whatever the heck, freaking guy, getting us all aggravated on a Monday. All right, so over the weekend. On Friday, Manny Pacquiao surprising everybody. Here we go. Different argument. We got to acknowledge the super chats. Different argument. Barrios has a regular belt, not super. What's the freaking difference? He has the regular WBC belt, and this guy has the franchise belt. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. According to the WBC and the rules, that the franchise has more weight than the regular WBC title, and then they're fighting for the interim title. That's what I don't get either. Why are they fighting for an interim title when they have already a WBC champion? Jojo Diaz against Fortuna for the interim title. You guys already have a regular champ. Why do you guys need an interim? They're even confusing even more. So then, okay, look, Jojo Diaz goes. Say Jojo Diaz or Fortuna. That winner goes and wins. So now, say Devin beats Teo. He doesn't become undisputed. Want to know why? Because Jojo Diaz or Fortuna has the interim title. You see the slippery slope?
It's too many belts.
True, but you got to list it how it really is. No, F that argument. Devin's undisputed. He beat the guy that beat the guy. You see the point I'm trying to make, Marcus? With him beating Lomachenko?
I see the point that you're trying to make.
Throw all the belts away. Throw the belts away. if you throw all the belts away, who's the guy at 135 pounds?
My question is, if you reverse the roles.
No, who's the guy at 135? Throw away all the belts. Who's the guy at 135?
Who's the guy at 35
without the belts? Number one, based on wins.
Without Lopez and Haney fighting, I don't know.
No, Marcus, not on opinion. Based on wins. Who's number one?
Based on the guy. Okay, so based on number one, you're putting it because Lomachenko.
No, based on wins. Numbers don't lie, bro. Based on wins.
Numbers don't lie, bro. So you have to say that.
You don't want to admit it. You don't want to admit it, though. You don't want to admit it, bro. Look at you. Look, you don't want to admit it. Yes, it is. Number two beat number one. Simple as that. Number two becomes number one. He's number one, whether you like it or not, bro.
Listen.
And look, trust me, if it was Devin in this position, I'd be fighting tooth and nail for Devin.
It ain't got nothing to do with who it is. Basically, the problem is, look, it's too much confusion at 35. Let's go ahead and let them mix it up. There's a dispute. They got to mix it up. Until then, it's nothing to talk about. It's disputed.
Real Dude Uprising. What's up, bro? Thank you. It's like the belts that count don't count until they decide they do, as they make more belts. It's a shame.
No, really.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, the belt of the moment. The belt of the moment.
The belt of the week. Thank you for that, Real Dude. I appreciate that. Well, we all appreciate that. Mark, what's up, dude? Teo is guy. I think he means Teo is the guy. But we'll repeat word for word. Teo is guy. Haney means Teo, not the other way around, bro, says Mark. Thank you for that, Mark. Appreciate it. All right, back to.
That's the problem, is that we're talking about who needs who. It's boxing.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
We need to fight.
Number one, fight number two, and on and on and on. 3 fight 4, 5 fight 6, and on and on and on. That's how it should be, man. That's how it should be. But I think the winner of this fight is supposed to fight the winner of Lopez and Cambosis, I believe. If not, no. I'm wrong. The winner of Haney Linares is supposed to fight the winner of Diaz and Fortuna.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Yeah, because Ryan and Fortuna, they were supposed to fight. So those guys are supposed to fight. So, yeah.
We'll see if it happens too.
Yeah, we'll see if that happens.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Okay, on Friday, Manny Pacquiao announcing he's fighting Errol Spence Jr. Obviously, that's the main topic that I have here on this live chat to go ahead and get you guys to tune in and click, because I saw already some of you guys getting your panties on a bunch, because I've been mentioning certain things that – I'm not saying it makes him greater than Floyd. I'm asking the question, will it make him greater than Floyd in terms of accomplishments? So we're going to have a discussion on that right now, but they're scheduled, Manny Pacquiao and Errol Spence Jr. to fight August, I believe, 21st. Let me get this right so you guys know to keep your calendars open and get those tickets. Yes, August 21st, Las Vegas, MGM Grand, Fox pay-per-view, and Ducat. Is that like Ducati? The question should be, if Pac beats Spence, is he the GOAT? Floyd is nowhere near this conversation. Not true. Pacquiao by far is already greater than Floyd. Open to interpretation. At this point, here's the thing. Both guys are great, man. Both guys are great. Floyd beat Manny. Makes him greater, you could say. On the other hand, Floyd's used this argument by stating Duran is one of the best ever, because Duran, a natural lightweight, moved up and won a title at middleweight. And he says, you know how much weight that should hold? That's why Duran's over Leonard and Hearns and Hagler and all these guys, because of what he did. We'll use that same logic to Manny. Flyweight goes all the way up and wins the title at super middleweight. You know how hard it is for freaking flyweight to move up 8 divisions? So if you use that logic, Floyd's old logic, Manny's accomplishments should be they should have a lot more weight than what Floyd did. But Floyd beat Manny 15-0. Floyd was a beast as Pretty Boy Floyd, walloping mofos left and right. 6 divisions for him, right? Or is it 5?
For Floyd or for Manny?
I believe Floyd is 5, right? 5 divisions?
6.
6?
Yeah.
I think it's the other way around.
No, yeah, because I think Oscar's 6. I think Floyd is 5. Here, let's go ahead and I wish I had a Jamie, like Joe Rogan. Like, yo, Jamie, find out if Floyd's 5 or 6.
That.
Hold on, let me go ahead and freaking look at.
Shout out to Kim. What up, Kim?
I think he's 5.
I believe he's 5.
Yeah, he's 5. Floyd is
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're wrong. It's 6. So it's him and Oscar that are 6. And wait. Super featherweight, lightweight. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, it's 5. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, it's 5 divisions. Yeah, 5 divisions.
Name them.
Where do you start?
Super featherweight, lightweight, light welterweight, light middleweight. Yeah. 5 divisions.
Yeah, 54. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Oscar's 6th division, and Floyd is Manny's 8 divisions. Oscar's 6 divisions.
Manny's 8, right? 6, 5.
Floyd, Ray Leonard. I'm gonna say Tommy Hearns are 5.
Stop doing this, man.
What's up?
I'm just saying because, like, you know, if Manny was to beat Spence, buddy, Manny come off of what, a 2-year layoff off of. First off, the arc of Manny's career. Let's all agree that Manny is past it. Manny is not Manny of back in the day. Manny, right? This isn't old school Manny. This is Manny on the way down. If Manny somehow manages to come up and beat Spence after beating Thurman, man, I don't, you know, he would, at that point, he would completely deserve, it would be disrespectful at that point to keep on trying to drag Floyd's name with Manny's name, bro, because Manny would be deserving of talk of his own, bro. Like, you know, you got to put some respect on Manny's name if he was able to get something like that done. That's a huge accomplishment. And check this out, more than that, he's taking a huge fight on the way down, bro. Huge fight on the way down. I'd have to say, bro, he would be in the class of his own for certain.
Well, if you look at in the past few years, you compare Manny's what he's been doing compared to what Floyd's been doing. After he's retired, Floyd's been doing nothing but exhibition matches, been not taking, you know, those easy fights per se that people always make the argument. And and Manny has just been fighting top fighters in the last of his career where you really don't see. And now choosing Errol Spence Jr., who is one of the top,
unbelievable choice.
He's one of the top 3 welterweight fighters in the world. I mean, that's just unbelievable. At 42, wouldn't you kind of do what kind of like Miguel Cotto did in his last fight against Fassaram Ali, if I'm not mistaken? He was just taking or Austin Trout. He was just one of those fights. Hey, let me just see what I can do and just I'm out. You know, he could have easily done that. He could have fought anybody and still bring a large attraction. But to do it in Vegas against Errol Spence Jr., I mean, that's just a lot to talk about. I guess that's the edge that people see right now. That hey, Pac-Man is fighting these people while Floyd Mayweather is fighting Logan Paul. Like.
Floyd's retired, bro. He's retired. It doesn't count. You know, he's retired.
Yeah.
You can do whatever the heck you want when you're retired. Richard Lemon. The problem with Pac is better than Floyd. If he beats Spence, the argument people make about Pacquiao being old when he lost to Floyd goes out the window. Or Floyd and Manny were so damn freaking good in their primes, so great, so special as fighters that even the best of this era can't even come close to how great they were. That shows you the how far along they were compared to everybody else. Regardless, Floyd and Manny are always going to be connected. They're always going to be connected. You know, you talk about Floyd, you'll talk about Manny. You talk about Manny, you talk about Floyd. They're always going to be connected, regardless of what happens. You know, both their legacies are solidified. But I think that if Manny's able to do this, not only at 42, because Spence is seen as 1B at welterweight. You know, I think a majority of people feel that Terrence Crawford is the 1A at 147 pounds. But Spence is the unified welterweight champion. In terms of the rankings, you know, he's up there with Terrence. It's 1A, 1B. For a guy at 42 to go not in his prime anymore, after doing what he's doing, and he fights another top young guy in his prime, in Errol Spence, who was an Olympian, who's a phenomenal fighter in his own right. And for him to do this at this stage of his career, I think he goes and he beats Spence. And I asked this question to Tim Bradley, and Tim told me, man, he's GOAT, top 5 GOAT of all time. You can't deny what he's done. Like, no one else is doing that. I think over the course of 20 years from now, 30 years from now, Manny's career, let me put this in this way. If he beats Spence, I think people will be like, you know what? Resume-wise, if you look at his career arc, he's done a lot more harder things than Floyd for a fighter to do. He's like at the 1% for a smaller guy like him to go and do this and beat the guys that are bigger than him, and then doing it at an older age, beating the guys that are young in their prime. Now, if he beats Spence and we go 20, 30 years from now, I think it's going to have more weight on it compared to what Floyd has done just because of the age that he was at, for him to go ahead and beat in Errol Spence. Max Kellerman was asked this question one time, shouldn't Manny be seen as one of the greatest ever because of what he's done in terms of being a small flyweight, moving up in weights and achieving what he's achieved? And he said as well, there's a legit argument there to argue that pound for pound, as a fighter, Manny has accomplished more, and what he's done is harder than what Floyd has done or any other fighter, because of him being such a small guy at flyweight, going up all the way to junior middleweight and getting the titles that he snatched up. Floyd was a savant. He became a world champion in the first year, I think, in boxing, or first 2 years of boxing. That's not normal. Who's the only other guy that's off the top of my head that become a world champion so quick? There's been a few, but Lomachenko is one of the ones that comes up to mind really, really quick. If we are measuring fighters' lineages, 8 divisions beats 5 divisions. You would think, but it is subjective, because then you start analyzing the opponents, where the opponents were at their careers, yada, yada, yada. What is important to know about that is, as Floyd has said it in the past, this is a flyweight that went up to junior middleweight and won a title. This is not his weight. This is not a guy that's the normal weight as these guys. This is a small guy that's went up and did that. So either or, you're always going to have this argument, who's greater than who. But I think if he does beat Spence, there's still going to be this argument, because what Floyd, you can make an argument that Floyd is the best boxer we've ever seen. I want to say it's Roy, given natural ability, but you can make an argument that he's the best boxer ever, up there. And some of you hardcore boxing heads are going to be like, Marcos, you're so short-sighted. You're only talking about the last 20 years. You got to go back further. What about Sugar Ray Robinson? What about Henry Armstrong? What about all these guys? Yeah, I get it. I know. But it's obvious Floyd's a special freaking guy, man. He beat Manny. He made him look like made the fight easy,
Super easy.
Long as we remember that, long as that's always remembered. You talk about they're gonna be linked, they will be linked, and that will come up all the time, no matter who he beats.
But you also got to put too, who did the harder things in their career.
We understand that.
And if you look at it that way, then you could make an argument for Manny, because that's no one else has done it.
Man, look, to beat Earl is a huge victory, and I would say arguably, man, and people might get on me about this, bro. Listen, to beat a red hot Errol Spence Jr. right now is arguably the biggest win in either one of their careers. How about that? That's a huge win, man. Tell me you wouldn't love to see a prime Errol Spence Jr. versus a prime Mayweather. I mean, that's still a hell of a fight, and a pick'em fight too, man. That's a tough fight. I still think that Mayweather would have won, but boy,
against who?
Against Spence.
Oh yeah, no,
It's Mayweather.
I would think
would beat
yeah.
Spence. Would have beat Spence.
There was actually some super chats that we missed, Marcos. Real quick, how soon do you think tickets will be available?
Hold on, let me go ahead and try to find the super chats. We appreciate your guys' super chats. I'm scrolling up through the chat. Let's see here, Johnny. Is there going to be random drug tests for both? I would suppose so. Both are VADA athletes.
Remember, I sent that conversation I sent you on the chat yesterday about that. About
I'm gonna put this. You're going on timeout, dog. You're annoying. All right, he's being annoying, dog. For reals, bro. Nutrition is life. What's up? So now size is the factor. That's so cap.
When did we talk about size?
Oh my god.
I think they're talking about when you talk about the feather going up to junior middle.
Okay, so according to him, that doesn't mean anything. Why do you think they have weight classes in boxing, bro? And why do you think it's so hard? Why do you think there's so few people that have done the stuff that Floyd and Manny has done through multiple weight classes? Because weight makes a difference, bro. It's hard to be a multi-weight world champion. Now you're going up 5 divisions, 6 divisions, 8 divisions. Why do you think there's only like 5 people in the history of freaking boxing out of 200 and something years of boxing that have been able to go 5 divisions or more? Because it's freaking hard. It's rare. Weight classes make a difference. You're bigger, you hit harder, you're able to take those punches. Your power doesn't carry up. Now think of a freaking little flyweight going up through all these divisions and doing something like that. Come on, bro. Jeez. Sorry about that. Okay. Steven.
Okay.
You had to get it out, bro. You had to get it out.
Yes. It's a hard thing, dude. That's like me. That's like any person fighting a guy that's like 25 pounds heavier than them. Okay. It's gonna make a freaking difference. That size in the fight. Manny came up through 8. Could have been 10 divisions if he didn't skip 2 and was destroying people at every spot. You not only need to look at who they beat, but how they beat them. Fair point. Fair point, Steven. Fair point. But Floyd smashed a ton of freaking fools too. You can't forget that.
Champions, bro. Let's not, the thing is, man, is the point that needs to be made is that if Manny was to pull this off, dude, you got to separate them, bro. You got to separate them because their careers are different. Their careers are completely different for him to be able to pull that off. But, man, if a if was a fifth, like my dad said, man, we'd all be drunk, bro. If a if was a fifth, we'd all be drunk. He's got a super duper tall task in front of him in Errol Spence Jr. It kind of depends on what's Manny's legs look like when we start breaking the fight down. Is Manny going to be able to move? A stationary Manny Pacquiao versus Errol Spence Jr. Creates a brief firefight, I think.
How also would this benefit Errol Spence Jr.? You're fighting over the hill Manny Pacquiao, not in his prime. Does this benefit you or not for Errol?
He picks the belt up, doesn't he?
I believe so, yes. But
yeah, I don't even know the status of
is he stripped or is he the champion recess?
I don't know.
Because if he's the champion recess, then the belt's up for grabs. That's what we need to know.
Yeah, I don't know if Manny's still considered the WBA champ because when he beat Thurman, that's the belt that he got, right?
Mm-hmm. And then they did this thing when they thought that he was going to fight Ryan Garcia. Remember, they said, "Well, we're going to strip you and make Ugas the champ." But now we got this, and the other stuff is off. I bet you they made him the champion recess, and I think the belt's on the line, bro.
Well, okay. And I don't want to get too much into it.
Not sure about tickets, my man. Not sure. They haven't said anything yet, my broski. Go ahead, Yair.
Errol Spence has been wanting since that Porter fight about 3-4 years ago, or 3 years ago. He's been calling and calling and calling. Hey, I want Manny Pacquiao. I want Manny Pacquiao, and now he gets that fight. I didn't believe that it was going to happen. I don't know what y'all thought. I thought that poster was fake. I was like, it's fake. But once Spence and Manny put it, I was like, oh, snap. Like, that just stole news. That just stole everything, but it also benefits the sport of boxing. There's just more interest. People are like, oh, wow, there's a good fight coming up in August. Could it be the fight of the year? Possibly. We'll see. Another thing is, how does Errol Spence prepare for Manny Pacquiao? There's really no sparring partners that he can get. That size, that quickness. I wonder how his preparations are going to be. That's just also something that
Errol's going to come prepared, man. Errol knows how to fight.
Yeah.
Errol's a smart dude.
Top shape is
solid amateur background. He's the one that gave Floyd the black eye for his training camp for Manny Pacquiao. So he's familiar with that because they told him to at least give Floyd looks of how Manny would give looks for Floyd in that preparation in that camp. My big concern and in this fight is the inactivity of Manny. Manny, addressed it already, saying like, "Hey, it gave me time for my injuries for my body to heal." But the older you get, the harder it is to maintain a certain level of shape, especially in the fight game.
Absolutely.
It could be true, that it helped him healed up. But I remember I spoke to Justin Fortune one time, who was Manny's strength and conditioning trainer, and he told me that Manny was going to do – well, he told me Manny would knock out Keith. Obviously, they went 12 rounds. That didn't happen. But I asked him, what makes you think that? And he said, because when you got a guy at this age or any athlete, if they're consistently in the gym training, having fights, they're sharp. Their body's sharp. You don't have to go through a period where they're having to get back in fight shape. Manny's 2 years out of the fight. Regardless if he's in great shape, he's nowhere near fight shape yet. And he hasn't been because of the pandemic, because of everything.
Man.
That's a tough hill to climb, dude, at 42.
Bruh.
And especially time, we're in May right now. And I look at that as, to me, the biggest thing in this fight is Manny's time to get prepared in this fight. Errol just had a fight with Danny Garcia back in December. He's not that far removed from this. Ari Dar Boxing TV, what's up, man? I believe he's from the Philippines. Yeah, shout out from the Philippines. What's up, you guys? If Manny beats Spence, even in a close fight, would y'all consider Manny as the best ever? I think. Yeah. Well, he's already up there, but I think it's been like the last 10, 15 minutes that we've been saying this. Even if it's close, even if it's a split decision, it's really a matter of it's so subjective, man. It's what do you think? But watch, if he beats Spence even in a close fight, I have a sneaky suspicion that in 20, 30 years time, people are going to start saying that Manny accomplished more, or at least did the harder things in the career than Floyd, even though what Floyd did was very special and very hard. But I think because of that, because 42, beating the number one guy or 1B at 147 pounds, and him doing it when he did it is going to give more weight to what he's achieved. Holy Inferno, what's up, man? What champion did Floyd fight at 147 with less than 3 losses? What champion did Pacquiao fight with more than 1 loss? I don't know, bro. You tell us. Shoot, I'm not a boxing historian, dog. I don't know. Who did Floyd beat at welterweight to get the title? Was it Hatton? Or no. Or because when he fought Oscar at 54, right? Because Oscar couldn't drop down at 47. So who did he have the title at 47? It wasn't Hatton, was it?
World welter title vacant. Man, I'm trying to look it up right now.
All right, we'll get that answer to you, Holy Inferno. Thank you for that. Ducat Media House, what's up, bro?
Was it Shambe Mitchell?
I don't know. If one of you guys can look it up, let's see. We'll go ahead and get an answer to that. Ducat Media House, what's up, man? If you're basing greatness off of being undefeated, then you're not looking at the bigger picture. It's very hard to be undefeated and retire undefeated. Floyd was fighting the elite. Very, very hard, extremely rare to fight the elite and stay undefeated. which is why, Floyd is in the discussion as greatest boxer of all time, or amongst the greatest boxers of all time, because what guy fights a career for 20 years, beating so many world champions at that high elite level, and ends up dominating all of them and stays undefeated? It's a rare thing. Give Floyd props. Pac's resume in and outside the ring is what makes him greater. Like I mentioned, I could see that. I could see people seeing that, with what he's saying.
Okay, going back to the question that beat with less than 3 losses. I'm trying to, because I'm looking at Box Rec right now.
Yeah.
So, well, when he beat Hatton was undefeated at that moment. Oscar De La Hoya was 38-4 at that moment.
Diego Corrales.
Baldomir was 43-9. Zab Judah was 34-3. Sharpa Michel was 4. Arturo Gatti was 39-6. Henry Bruselis was 21-1. Marcus 50-4. Shane Mosley. I mean, that just will be a little bit more different. But Mosley was 46-5. Victor Ortiz 29-2 at the moment. Miguel Cotto 37-2. 31-1. Roberto Guerrero. Saul Canelo Alvarez at that moment was with just 1 draw. Marcus Maidana 35-3. So it goes on and on. When he fought Manny Pacquiao, 57-5. Andre Berto 30-3. So
Barry, Jeff Horner beat Manny. Come on, dog. Just like Tim Bradley didn't beat Manny. Come on, bro. Come on.
Yeah, man. I mean, some things happen in boxing, but as far as when we looking at this and trying to make it, look, I know a lot of people are in their feelings about this, bro. This is what I'm saying, man. If Manny was to pull it off, Manny would deserve to be separated from this argument, just for the simple point of, out of respect for the win. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, look, man. Again, buddy, it's a heck of a tough fight for Manny. If you go back, man, like I looked at Manny training not long ago, and he was training outside like by a pool. During the pandemic, man, and to be honest, bro, his calves were humongous, right? But he looked like he was on 2 flats. He didn't have bounce. He looked like he kept trying to find his bounce. He didn't look springy. Non-springy. If Pacquiao's not springy as hell versus Errol Spence Jr., it's not gonna be well. It's not gonna go well, bro. Seriously. If he's not springy and can get away, it's going to be a tough fight.
You know what? Already going into this fight, Errol Spence is favored. You know that, right?
Yeah, he should be favored. The younger guy, the bigger guy, the longer guy.
Yeah. I mean, he's favored.
I'm not surprised. The odds are tight when the fight gets close. When Pacquiao starts posting videos and things, I think it'll tighten up. The odds will tighten up. But yeah.
Once everything,
this is a real tough fight, man. And moreover,
even in the weigh-in, it's gonna make a big difference. So looking at the weigh-in of the bodies also is gonna make a big difference, because remember when we saw Manny Pacquiao versus Marcus, he wasn't as cut up. He wasn't like thick. He wasn't the same as bodies. It was completely different. That changed a lot during the fight. Obviously, we know what happened with Marcus. So obviously, we just see Manny Pacquiao just regularly, just not really toned up. That's gonna also make a big difference in the fight. Just seeing that. But yeah. See Manny Pacquiao.
Let me get to the super chat here from Steven. At the very least, Pacquiao would be behind Sugar Ray Robinson and Henry Armstrong if he beats Spence. His accomplishments are legendary. You know what? I'm gonna try to get on Steve Farhood on this. Okay. Let me see if I can get him on right now. Give me a second, guys. Go ahead and answer this super chat. Let me text Steve. Let me see if I can get him on him, because Steve would provide the proper context.
I'll read it to you, Yair. Marcus.
Let me read it to you, Yair.
Okay, brother.
They're both great. Who's greater? That's subjective. Floyd has skills and a pristine record. Pac has an exciting career in 8 divisions. Floyd beat both Pac and Canelo, who looked invincible. Their accomplishment only add to Floyd's greatness. And this is from Yusuf Salia with the $50 super chat.
Pause. Everything is good that he just mentioned. That Canelo, you have to take that out. That's young.
No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't.
Young Canelo.
No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't. Canelo, if you watch it, you got beat by Floyd. You got beat by Floyd. You got schooled by Floyd, and you learned from Floyd.
Yes,
you did lose
yes,
to Floyd.
yes,
Look,
yes,
you can't
yes,
take that out. Just as so look. So look, if I finish this Modelo and I got another one, does that mean I didn't drink my first Modelo? Stop it, broski.
Yes, yes, yes. But that's a young Canelo unexperienced. That's the only thing. Take that,
bro. It's a prize fight. It was a prize fight. He was undefeated. He was less experienced. He wasn't He was less. He was not.
He didn't have that experience.
He was less experienced than he is today. He was less experienced than he is today.
Yeah, but
Canelo lost.
The comment that he's making is it's very good. I like the comment. They're both great. Who's greater? That's always going to be the debate. That's always going to be the debate.
It is.
No matter what. Yes, I agree with
when it comes up, the victory that Floyd holds will come up, unfortunately, for those that don't like it.
Pristine record is just like his shots. They were always timed. They were always landing every single time. Floyd was always precise with his punches. Yes, all of that is great. Pacquiao's exciting career. Perfectly said. Pacquiao's an exciting career. Looking back when he did Shane Mosley, Antonio Margarito, Miguel Cotto, Hatton, Oscar, boom, boom, boom. We go there. Yes, both.
These are a lot of those guys you just mentioned lost to Floyd before they fought Pacquiao too.
But
just to throw that out there,
there's at least 2 fights that we can agree that Floyd was very, very, very tight. That Jose Luis Castillo was one of them. Maybe there's just another one that we can even throw. Well, maybe more the Jose Luis Castillo fight. That one was very.
No, you gonna say the other one. You say the other one too.
No, I'm not gonna say the other one.
Say the other one because you guys like to do this.
No,
you like to do this.
No.
Y'all like to do this. Look,
take away.
Look, he fought Castillo the first time. It was close. What did Floyd do? He ran it back immediately.
Look, people even said it
and beat him.
I'm telling you, people
even said he ran it back immediately and dismissed him. You got to give him his credit, bro. Just because of what Pacquiao's doing, look, you don't blow out somebody else's candle to make yours look brighter, bro. What Pacquiao's is doing is great. What Pacquiao's doing is great. Floyd stands where he stands. Floyd is, look, watch this. Floyd's legacy isn't moving anymore. Pacquiao is the one that has control of his trajectory. Put it that way.
Exactly. Boom. You said it. But you cannot add Canelo in that conversation.
Hold on. Respond to nutrition. Nutrition is life. I don't know, because Marcus isn't a kid and you look young out here, so I think
he's not talking to me. He ain't talking to me.
Floyd was 37, bro. Canelo had 40 plus fights.
He's talking to you, guys.
It's 15. Nah, son.
He's talking to you, mate. He ain't talking to me. He's talking to you.
That's a Canelo. That's a Canelo who was not in there with top fighters. After that, look at his
40 and 0. At 40 and 0. Come on.
Oh my God! Out of those 40 and 0, how many could we probably say?
Oh, hey guys, quiet down now.
In order to control the narrative with Floyd, we're disputing the first 40 fights of Canelo's career.
All right, guys. We have a special guest now. We have a special guest now. Joining us, if he can get his camera right, I was able to pull some strings and get one of my favorite people in all of boxing, Mr. Steve Farhood, on with us. I think he's going to join us pretty soon. I think he's setting up our camera, so this would be a great question to ask Steve, because Steve is really a historian of the sport, boxing just lifelonger, thick and through. Let's see if it's working right now for Steve. Steve, can you hear me?
Yes.
Mr. Steve Farhood, my man.
Can you hear me?
Yes. How are you, Steve? Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Hey, cheers, Steve.
You guys are going to have to accept me as a shadow.
All right.
Dr. Francis B. Gross.
In silhouette mode right here, Steve Farhood. Steve, first off, great to hear from you. I hope you've been well. Question of this live chat, and I think maybe you could chime in and give us your perspective, is if Manny Pacquiao beats Errol Spence, does it put him above Floyd in terms of accomplishments, and where would it land him on the pound for pound of all time list?
Well, I think Manny doesn't need a win over Spence to be on the top 20, probably top 20 pound for pound list. Here's the problem. I compare, in a weird way, I compare Manny and Floyd in the discussion of how they rate against each other, a little bit like Nadal and Federer. You know, and you know, Nadal right now is, I think, one major short of topping Federer, and he has a winning record against Federer head to head. So the common perception is that Federer is the greatest of all time. But I don't know if he'll be considered that way if Nadal passes him in terms of majors. So I think the problem with Manny and Floyd is they did fight. And they did fight. And if Manny is good enough to beat Spence, well, you can't say that he was well past his prime when he fought Floyd, because that was a number of years ago. And Floyd beat him, pretty easy. So that has to count for the most, to me, of any factor in deciding which one of them is better. You're talking about two of the greatest fighters in history, tremendous fighters who not only were dominant at welterweight, but dominant in a division where I don't think they even belonged. I don't think either one's a pre or welterweight. Manny certainly isn't. So their accomplishments are amazing, but the fact that Floyd holds that win, a convincing win, I think counts for an awful lot, probably more than almost anything else, given that their accomplishments aside from that are roughly equal.
Let me ask you this, Steve. Because Manny was a flyweight and him achieving the things that he's achieved in the 8 divisions, does that give his accomplishments more weight because it's a lot harder for a smaller guy to do the things that he did?
Well, you can argue that for sure. I think, you also have to remember that Manny got knocked out as a flyweight. Floyd, okay, the number 50 came against Conor McGregor, who wasn't a real fighter. We know that. We understand that. It's somewhat bogus, but the guy has never lost. And to me, what separates Floyd from almost every other great champion in boxing history is not his record, and it's not the quality of his opposition, but it's the fact that he won virtually every fight he ever had fairly easily. I mean, if you take away the Castillo fight, the first Castillo fight, maybe Maidana the first time, maybe, one or two other fights, who's even been competitive with him? I mean, you have to think about that. You name every other great fighter. Joe Louis had Joe Walcott, who he didn't beat, and got the decision. Muhammad Ali had several questionable decisions toward the end of his career. Even Manny did lose to Eric Morales. He lost to Tim Bradley, although he didn't really lose, but he lost the decision. So I think you have to consider not just how Mayweather has won, but how easily he's won.
My man, Steve, always a pleasure to speak to you. Thank you for joining us. Can I ask you one more thing?
Sure.
How do you see the fight?
The Manny Spence fight?
Yes.
Well, I think this is it for Manny. I think it's going to be his last fight. The presidency of the Philippines beckons. I think the election is next year. He's taking a fight that I'm not so sure Freddie Roach ever wanted him to take when Freddie was handling him. I think Spence proved enough in his first fight back after the accident to suggest that he still got it. So it's very hard for me to pick Manny. We've all made the mistake of picking against Manny at times where he surprised us, probably with the De La Hoya fight more than any other. But I gotta go with Spence. I gotta go with the younger guy, the naturally bigger guy, the stronger guy. He'll keep coming, and I think Spence wins the fight.
All right. Steve, thank you, man. It's always good catching up with you. I hope you've been well, and we'll speak soon, yeah?
Doing great. Thanks for having me on, Marcos. Take care, guys.
Take care, Steve. Thank you so much.
All right, Steve. Good night.
I love that.
That was Steve Farhood, editor of Ring Magazine.
What Steve said.
His knowledge.
Steve said, homie.
Hey, what did he say that I just touched back? Floyd Mayweather against Jose Luis Castillo, and I didn't want to say the same with Maidana. I didn't want to add it on there, and he said it. The people said it. So,
and I said and he ran it right back and closed y'all's mouths for you. That's why you got to put respect on his name. He didn't give you a chance to say, "Oh man, he won't fight Castillo again. He won't run it back." He did, and he put work in on Castillo. He did, and he put work in on Maidana. Let's not forget these things.
For my sake, I never said who was greater than who. I asked the question. So get off my back. Get on Yair.
Hey, it's a strong topic, Marcos, bro. It was a great topic, dog. Hats off
That's funny,
you,
man. Look, I just asked the question. and I gave you both sides, but this is why these two figures have been as great as they have been, because one, their fan bases are so passionate about them. Two, they're linked. They're the greatest of their eras. And, they circled each other for many years, and they carried the sport of boxing for many, many years. And look at the discussion we're having, not only amongst us, but amongst people here on the chat. That goes to show you the stature and the heights that both these fighters reach.
Absolutely.
But I'd like to say I agree with Steve Farhood. I'm of that same opinion because he beat Manny. And this was, if Manny goes and does that at this age, beats Spence, and then you're like, well, Floyd beat Manny 6 years ago when he was way better than that.
Hurt shoulder, by the way.
Oh, get out of here.
With the hurt shoulder too. There was no press conference.
Get out of here. Get out of here. No, hey Carl, we're not skipping super chats. We might have missed your super chat, Carl. So go ahead and sorry for that. Go ahead and throw it over here to us. I'm not sure we missed.
Let me see.
Super chat is different than a regular chat, bro. Super chat gets highlighted. Regular chat, we pick them randomly.
Is it the Caps and 4G? Is that the guy?
I don't. Hold on. Let me see. Where did
because he said Muhammad Ali lost to Ken Norton, but who recognized the?
No, it's Coral Brown. He said y'all skipping people on the chat super chats.
No,
maybe he doesn't. Yeah, maybe he doesn't know how to use the super chat.
Steve, lunch is on me. My guy, nutrition is life. Don't they call me a kid?
All right, well, that was a good little conversation. Thank you so much for Steve Farhood for jumping in there.
This clarifying all that shenanigans real quick.
Is part of the good. This is why you need to watch our live chat, because one, who knows who randomly I'm able to reach out and grab on here, bro. You never know who's going to be on here.
Oscar beat Floyd Mayweather too.
Yeah. According to one judge who was blind, because I love Oscar, but he didn't beat Floyd. Get out of here. Get out of here. All right. Next weekend, great fight in the lightweight division. Devin Haney taking on Jorge Linares. Devin defending his WBC title against Jorge. A lot of people seeing this. Yeah, let's not get started. It is what it is.
I'm gonna let it go.
It is what it is. It is what it is. Oh wow, we got a flood of super chats here. Here we go. Hold on. We're getting to the Devin Haney thing against Jorge Linares. We're gonna go ahead and preview that fight, but nutrition is life. It says bottom line, Floyd's skill is planted above Manny. I think we can all agree to that, right?
Yeah.
To the kid, he's calling you a kid. You're like 30 years old. That's hilarious. I'm just giving you a hard time, bro. All fun and love.
It's all good.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Nutrition
life, my guy.
Is life. Okay, Richmond and Cash 1, what up? Y'all ducked my first super chat. We didn't duck your first super chat. We didn't see it, bro. If Floyd's win over Canelo doesn't count, who said it doesn't count? Oh, because he was young? Mosley Cotto shouldn't count because he was young then too.
Oh my God.
Go ahead, respond, yo. Give us your opinion there.
Who did he say? Mosley and Cotto?
Yeah, because Cotto was young.
Cotto after Floyd Mayweather? Yeah. Canelo fought Cotto after Floyd Mayweather. That was when Cotto was already out the door. Mosley was out the door. He was like already.
That was prime Cotto against Mosley.
He was in a co-main event. Shane Mosley was at a co-main event facing Canelo. He was already out the door. I don't even remember that. I think Shane Mosley had a hard time making weight, if I'm not mistaken. That was a Mosley out the door. Cotto was already out the door. And experience, even though they were champions. Oh, anyways, that's it.
So what are you saying? So what are you saying, Todd? I mean, you know what I'm saying, broski? Like, what you trying to say, fella? Your argument that fell apart like a hubcap in the fast lane, big guy. What's wrong?
That's like my
All
first.
right, let's get to this Haney versus Linares fight. Obviously, Devin Haney, the favorite in the fight. Many people feel that, bro, this full caps and full G, you didn't do a super chat, bro. Just because you write in a chat doesn't mean it's a super chat, bro. It's completely different, dog. You got to actually select the option to do a super chat. Okay, Jorge Linares, Devin Haney. Obviously, Devin Haney, the favorite in the fight. He's the younger guy. Believe what? Devin's like 21. Jorge's in his 30s. A 3-division world champion is Jorge Linares. And we got another super chat stopping me from getting into this fight. Canelo will always be the most underrated Mexican fighter because of the huge shadow of Julio Cesar Chavez. That's the way he lacks the credit he deserves.
In the words of Lee Corso, not so fast, my friend. No, that's not the reason why. That is a reason why. However, the thing that Canelo and Julio Cesar Chavez have different is that Julio Cesar Chavez went out and fought all those names that everybody kept naming. He can't beat Pernell Whitaker. At least he fought him. The outcome was kind of suspect, but at least he fought him. There's names out there for Canelo right now. Hey, I know that people don't want to see Canelo fight certain guys, but there are still valid names with belts around their waist. That's the difference. That's the difference when you ask Marquez. When you ask Barrera about it. That's the difference when you ask a guy like Eric Morales about it. It's who? You still got to fight the big names, fella. That's the problem. That's not why he's in the shadow, but there's more to it.
The Canelo was young. Excuses are the reason 23-year-old Virgil and Boots don't get shots now because y'all don't give them credit if they beat them.
And there's that.
Hold on. Let me read this again.
Well, let me read it. Let me try.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm a reading teacher.
Okay, go ahead.
The Canelo was young. Excuses, maybe could be in parentheses, are the reason 23-year-old Virgil and Boots won't get shots now because y'all don't give them credit if they beat them. So you're saying that if Virgil fights, or Boots, precisely, if Boots fights somebody that it's over the hill?
No, he's saying that they won't get title shots from Spence, Crawford, or these other guys that are holding titles because they won't, the older guys, the incumbents, the belt holders won't get credit for beating guys that are green.
I don't know, Catman, can you elaborate more on what you're trying to say there, bro? Let us know. We'll look out for your comment here on the chat so we can further expand on what you're saying. But thank you for the super chat, broski. Appreciate that. Okay, finally, Linares versus Devin Haney.
There it is.
I guess this is. Oh, did he respond?
No.
No. Oh, okay. I thought that's what Marcus meant when he said there it is, but I guess there it is means Linares versus Haney.
Quickly, Marcos.
Yeah. Okay.
There it is. Get to it.
If I guess this is going to show if Devin's the real deal, right? Because he's going up against a guy who's a 3-division world champion, who is still, in boxing terms, maybe in the autumn of his career, but he looked great in his last fight. We know Jorge, when he brings it, by far one of the most experienced opponents that Devin has had. Gamboa was an experienced opponent, but I think Jorge Linares more accomplished, more solid. He's a for real lightweight as compared to Gamboa, a smaller guy that moved up the weight classes in it. This is Devin's, I think, first real test. It's really going to show how great he is, how special he really is in the manner of how he's able to beat Jorge. If he beats Jorge, Marcus, break it down. How do you see the fight?
Man, I think that Haney is this is a good step up fight for Haney. I think again, man, I think early in the fight it'll be a chess match. But I think that Linares will find himself a step slow starting about round 5. He's gonna find himself getting beat to the punch. I think that it's going to be a contested fight, but I do see Haney winning, man. The Haney train is.
It's a 35-year-old Jorge Linares who has been beaten, torn down many times. He's gonna, like Marcus said, he's a step behind. He's not that fast fighter when he was, also around Manny Pacquiao as one of his sparring partners. Remember that a couple of years ago? So this is going to be a very good test for Devin Haney. I believe Devin Haney will go out in a TKO manner, just because he's young, he's faster, he's more technique. The way he adapts to fights as well, he considers himself like a Floyd Mayweather Jr. in the making. That's what he said many times. So I believe that the technique that Devin Haney has will empower over Jorge Linares. Jorge Linares, obviously, with his experience, should come out in the first few rounds, show his dominance. But after that, his age will show, as well as many of the rugged fights he's been into. Once this fight completes for Devin Haney, I believe this was really going to show what he's made of, because if you think about it, all the conversations that are talking about 135, I feel like Devin Haney's always put in the back seat. We're not really Devin Haney, the franchise belt, he hasn't fought anybody. He fought Gamboa, if I'm not mistaken, with a torn Achilles, et cetera, et cetera. So I believe once this fight progresses, once this fight completes, Devin Haney's going to be put in the front seat. Okay, now I'm in the conversation. Now I beat a Jorge Linares. Now I beat an experienced fighter. There's nothing else you can say. You cannot discredit anything from Jorge Linares. And now the talks around him should surround in that division. So this is going to be a great fight.
Yusuf, Devin needs to look impressive in this fight. I think he stops Jorge in the championship rounds. I think there is a little bit of pressure of him to look impressive because of the Gamboa fight. Would you guys agree on that?
Yeah, well, it's like I said, wasn't he a torn Achilles Gamboa in that fight, right?
No, that was against Tank Davis.
Yeah, against Tank,
but Gamboa Davis.
Yeah, but Gamboa gave him some work. Gamboa gave him some work. If you remember,
he gave him some work as far as being there to survive. I don't think he gave him some work as far as landing clean shots and having a valid offense that put Devin on his back foot at any point in the fight at all. I don't think that Gamboa, it was disappointing to mainstream that he didn't knock him out. It did, you can say, well, he didn't look as good. We're getting into a thing now, man, where we're expecting fighters to beat these guys. And not just beat them, but now they have to win a certain way. Not just win, they got to win.
It's comparison because of the person who he just fought previously or he's going to fight next. It's just a comparison that is always going to be the topic. But if I recall, both both the fighters got a lot of criticism. Devin Haney, I felt like he got a little bit more than Tank Davis.
He got a lot of criticism.
Yeah, he got a lot of criticism, and in looking at the negative side, I mean, Devin Haney stood in there against an experienced Gamboa. We all know Gamboa has been one of the top fighters during his time. But now this Jorge Linares it's going to set the deal. This Jorge Linares is going to set the deal, and that's all it's going to. I think if it goes to the judges, Devin Haney, obviously, he puts an impressive performance. But I'm favoring Devin Haney. And I personally think, like Marco said, he just needs more of a stoppage, a TKO, where everybody's saying that's going to just seal the deal. And I want to see him in the front seat now. We've been talking about around that division. So
I think if really
and props to Gamboa. Yeah. A lot of props to Gamboa. He got
we talking about Gamboa. Look at Gamboa's losses, bro. Gamboa only had one questionable loss, and then he's lost to a who's who in boxing.
But don't forget too, though, this is a smaller Gamboa that shouldn't be in this weight class.
I don't want to add that.
I think if he really wants to get the hype for these fights with Ryan, Teo, Tank, I think he really got to put it on Jorge in order to create that excitement, to put him in, to position him and get pressure to position him in these fights. I really think that he needs to go out and try to stop Jorge and really impose his youth and his speed in there against a guy that's been kind of inconsistent with fights. When Jorge's on, he's on, and he could tussle with the top of his division. But there's been some fights that he's lost where you're just like, what the hell, bro? You lost to this guy? Like, what the heck? He can't have one of those nights against Devin. And maybe this is something that will bring the best out of Jorge Linares on a fight night, but I really do think that Devin needs to have a spectacular performance, or you'll start hearing from people the same stuff that you hear from the Gamboa fight, like, oh, he couldn't even stop an old Linares, or Linares was there to be beat. Just go out there and smash this guy then, because certainly he can. So you could shut those arguments up that people bring up in terms of this fight. But I expect a very good close fight. And I think the difference is really, I think it falls more on Jorge and what Jorge shows up and what he's able to take. I think that's the real thing here with this fight, because if you look at, obviously, experience, Jorge. If you look at accomplishments, Jorge. You look at the better fighters, Jorge. The only thing is, like I mentioned, you wallop Jorge well, and he seems to kind of break, or when he's mentally not there, he's completely not there in this fight. But I think it's going to be a really, really good, close, competitive fight. But I think because of his youth, Devin should start separating himself somewhere around 6, 7, 8, where he could be on a way to either getting a TKO win or people watching saying, you know what, no, he's totally in control. Like he's clearly winning this fight.
Man, I just feel like as far as Linares goes, I don't think that Linares will present the same sort of fight that Gamboa did in Haney's last fight. I think that Linares is going to come to fight. And with a guy that's going to come to fight and that's going to actually pack an offense, I think that we'll see a better performance from Devin Haney. I see a lot of people saying that he's boring and things like that. It's difficult for you to fight. There's a lot of people that are saying that Devin Haney's boring and it's a snooze fest. But that's just code talk for I don't want him to fight my favorite fighter. I have trepidation of him beating up my guy that I'm protecting in my little man fan bubble that I live in, or whatever it is. Like, listen, man, the bottom line is that Linares is going to present a different challenge, and Haney's going to have more opportunities than he's had in his last few fights, period.
That fight happens this weekend on DAZN, right? DAZN. Let's see here. Let's check the schedule.
Yes,
this weekend, DAZN. Oh, dude, I didn't even know. Nonito Donaire fights this weekend against Nordine El Bali on Showtime. But, obviously, this is. I think this is the better fight against Linares and Devin Haney. And then the week after that, the fight that's going to save boxing, the fight of the century, fight of all fights, the greatest fight in the history of boxing. On June 6th, Floyd Mayweather against Logan Paul. That's coming up.
History.
Right, I think this is going to be the last super chat here because we've gone a little bit over time here. Dago 619 Cali Factor. What's up, bro? My top 3 favorite fighters ever are Ali, Pacquiao, and Floyd Jr. But I will say Floyd retired to avoid fighting Keith and Spence, and Pac is fighting them both. No, I don't think so. Even though
Keith.
I know Keith was a mandatory for Floyd at one time, but no, Floyd, you're fighting a long time, bro. Like fighters don't fight into their 40s. Like Manny's doing a very rare thing, continuing to fight during his 40s. Like honestly, I think the perfect time for him to retire would have been the win over Thurman. If I was his advisor, I would have told him retire. Like that's it. You beat a young top welterweight who's a champion in their. Well, I don't know. It's an argument about if Keith's in his prime or not, but sort-ish in their prime. If you think he's not the same Keith as he was before, should have gone on that way. Floyd, when he retired and he beat Andre Berto, I think he was in his late 30s, and Floyd, from years covering him, he doesn't, he's seen what boxing has done to his uncle Roger. He's seen what boxing has done to his dad, Floyd Sr. His big impetuous in his career was to take the least amount of damage because he's seen firsthand how damaging boxing can be to people. And, he wanted to get in there, make his money, which he made the most out of any fighter ever, and get out. And he got out undefeated with all his faculties intact, man. So he should be saluted for that. Andre Ward did the same thing. Got in, got out at the top. Floyd did the same thing. So, Manny's choosing to continue to fight. It's rare that you see fighters fighting into their 40s and being successful. Hopkins did it. Not sure who else off the top of my head in their 40s is able to do it. But, salute to Manny. I just hope he doesn't get – yeah, Foreman. Yeah, that's true. I just hope he –
26-year-old Michael Moore.
I just hope he doesn't get hurt, man. I don't want to see Manny get knocked out again.
You know what, man? Before we go, right? Because we have to remember this too.
Tails fight is on June 19th on Triller.
Miami.
Okay, go for it, Marcus.
We got to remember, bro. I mean, before we cheer for Manny or as we cheer for Manny, there was another Filipino that was putting in work, bro, and that's Nonito Donaire. Nonito Donaire is fighting his second undefeated fighter in a row this weekend, bro, on the 29th. Fighting an undefeated 17-0 young guy, Nordine Ordnell or
Obali. He's a very slick defensive fighter. I saw him.
Bro, I mean, we talking about that's Nonito Donaire is another guy. He's coming off of a huge fight of the year with Inoue, bro.
Inoue, that was
Inoue's eye socket in his feet. We got to make sure that we talk about Nonito Donaire, man, and give him his love, bro, because he definitely is a treasure to boxing as well, and he's fighting this Saturday as well. So that's another fight that's this weekend.
So have your DVRs ready and set for both those fights. And that's it, man. We only do this super chat for an hour. We went over half an hour because of Marcus. Thanks, Marcus. Marcus getting me all pissed.
Blame me.
All right, you guys. Thank you so much for joining us. We will be back live next Monday, 5:35 for another edition of the Fight Up TV live chat. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. Let's get one last round of likes from everybody. We really appreciate you guys tuning in and interacting with us and speaking with us. Share and like, please. Thank you guys so much. Have a great rest of your Monday. Make it a productive and happy week, and look out for each other, guys. Appreciate it.
Happy birthday to my niece Sierra, man. Happy birthday.
There you go. Happy birthday, Sierra. Thank you.
Birthday. Have a good night, everybody.
All right, you guys, take it easy. Appreciate it. Saludos a todos. Buenas noches, says Javis. All right, you guys.